Well, howdy there, folks. Welcome to Donut County. I've been meaning to check this game out for a while, so let's go ahead and get into it. The game begins with a human character named Mira texting with a raccoon character that is asking her to come in to work at the donut shop. We don't get much texting done though, as I very quickly realize that there is a button to throw a duck in the chat, and we can spam it, so this is definitely a recipe for an achievement. I spend a couple of minutes spamming the quack button, and I'm actually starting to feel like maybe I'm wasting time and this isn't an achievement until suddenly it finally pops. We earn the achievement Quack Enthusiast for quacking a total of 100 times. With our honk break out of the way, we go ahead and continue with the text conversation that will further the story. Mira is complaining about how some man was outside of the house honking at the crack of dawn and woke her up, and BK says he will take care of it. We then switch over to the title screen of the game, I guess, and where we get introduced to what this gameplay is actually about. Throughout each level of this game, we take control of this hole that moves around the level, collecting the different things that make the level up, such as the grass or these donuts or this fence. As we grab those things up into the hole will slowly get bigger and we can grab bigger and bigger things. After the honking man has been dealt with, we switch back over to the donut shop where BK is hanging out. I guess this is kind of his command center where he's controlling all of the holes from. Mira texts back being excited that the honking has stopped, and BK is celebrating being level 9, and apparently at level 10 he gets a quadcopter, in whatever those levels mean and whatever a quadcopter is, I guess. We then jump 6 weeks into the future, and we find that we are suddenly in a giant hole 900 feet below Donut County. BK and Mira also seem to have gotten into an argument about something that has happened here. No one can really say what for sure, but Mira has smashed the quadcopter. Now we know what it is, I guess. I guess the surviving members of the Great Donut County collapse gather around a campfire, and they're all honestly pretty calmly challenging BK about opening up holes that have destroyed the entire town. Seems like everybody's upset about this, but they're not really that upset, they're really acting like it could be much worse. A member of the town named Potter informs everyone that they got swallowed up by a hole just after they ordered a donut from BK's shop. And also they have a child named Pup who appears to still be on the surface somewhere. So now we go into flashback mode at Potter's Rock on the day of the incident. This is how the majority of levels are going to go in this game. We start out with a small hole in a new area that we go around and collect things to get bigger and bigger. In this level, things are pretty simple. We move the hole around, slowly getting bigger and bigger before we eventually capture Potter, and we see that Pup is just watching from the house. We'll have to get him another way. Eventually, after we collect more and more things, we manage to chase Pup out into a hot air balloon that they keep for some reason. It's undisclosed. But eventually we manage to swallow up a furnace, which makes hot air begin pouring out of the hole, and we can put that underneath the hot air balloon to launch Pup right up into the air. We also earn our second achievement for doing that. And as we see Pup fade away into the distance, our hole has grown large enough that we can go ahead and swallow up the house as well as all of the surrounding rocks. After you finish collecting everything in a level, you go to this cool Great Delivery screen where you see the character for the level falling down into the hole below, and we level up towards rank 10 and that quadcopter we wanted. We can also open up the Trashopedia and see the list of all of the things that we collected. For the most part, these aren't super important, but they do give a little bit of silliness to the game with little descriptions to the items. We return to our campfire pals as we hear the Ranger Helen talking about their story, seeing a hot air balloon pass by the ranger station, but they got a little bit distracted. They ordered a donut and then suddenly they fell down into a hole. Weird that. The ranger station level introduces our first taste of wildlife in this game. There are quite a few wild animals, and we're getting started pretty big with a bunch of snakes that the ranger was hiding from. Though it seems like the ranger accidentally captured and left this big blue snake in a crate outside, so of course we go ahead and help out and grab that snake up, but for some reason the snake is big enough that the tail sticks out of the hole. And now we can use this snake to cause some havoc around the ranger station, causing the ranger to raise the snake danger station up higher and higher. Once we've caused sufficient snake-based havoc, the snake danger meter explodes itself. That seems kind of like some poor design, but it allows us to zoop up the rest of the level. Mira asks the group if anyone else saw Pup or the hot air balloon, and that leads us to the story of Salt and Pepper. This is like one of the major side stories that's going on in this game. These two are feuding about their love of birds or something. It just really didn't hit with me. But anyway, now we can go into Salt's version of what happened. The main lesson of this level is that if you run the hole through water, it gets filled up with water and can't take anything else into it. So I guess we've drowned all of the people that were already down at the bottom. The best way to get the water out, and in fact the only way I guess, is to visit this bird that the bird freaks were fighting over and get it to suck the water up. What a weird everything. Our next story comes from a surprise guest who's been here the whole time. Coyote was the original owner of Donut County Donuts, but once the raccoons moved to town, it went out of business, and unfortunately he had to sell it, of course, to BK. So then Coyote moved out into the desert to open up a vegetable stand, as all great heroes do. I say a vegetable stand, but really it's all just corn all the way down, so we go ahead and swallow all of that up. And everybody knows once you swallow a bunch of whole ears of corn, then if you swallow a fire, you start creating some corn for popping that attracts a bunch of local crows that you can coax down into your hole. We return back to our campfire, and our cast of main characters have a big argument about what donuts really are. And, you know, I usually love games like this that are a little bit goofy, and, you know, it's a serious situation being trapped down in this hole, so maybe some humor brings some light to it. But, I don't know, maybe I was in a bad mood when I played this game, but the dialogue in this one just did not hit for me whatsoever. I don't know. After we wrap up the donut talk, we then move to Nikki and Roma, two people that I swear were not sitting here just a moment ago, but apparently they are recent retirees who moved to Donut County to relax and watch their bunnies. So naturally, in the level where we are working on swallowing them up, we capture a couple bunnies, and then bunnies do what they do and exponentially grow our hole every time you capture 2 of them. This will be very useful for the future. We return back to the campfire to pick up the second half of the Bird Freak story, and we're going to go ahead and take a quick jaunt over to Joshua Tree National Park. This level is pretty simple, similar to other ones that we've had. We pick up a fire, and then a bird throws us some charcoal down that we can use to make a much bigger fire to burn things around the level. Our next visit is with a guy named Morsel, who is this small town's firework dealer. I guess. In this level, we steal a firework from Morsel and then light it on fire to knock a poor other person off of a giant cliff directly onto their head. Like, BK is not a good person, guys. We cannot get behind this guy in the rest of this game. Somebody needs to do something about this. I guess we'll just go ahead and ignore that detail though, as it's time for Coco to drop a bomb. Mira has actually known that it's been the raccoons making the holes around town the whole time that it's been going on. We jump to a phone conversation between Coco and Mira, and Coco is making some pretty rational complaints that people have been disappearing since the raccoons moved in, and Mira is just defending them. This conversation gets cut off pretty quick though, once Coco says that they just ordered a donut and Mira needs to go try to stop the hole from happening. Of course though, our holes come for everyone. Maybe I should have picked up on this sooner also, but it's kinda weird in some of these levels that we're going around like collecting animals and dropping them into the hole, but also there's some like talking animals in the town. Like the only human person appears to be Mira. Like we've ended up in a real goofy Pluto situation here. It's kinda odd. This level also features just the loudest radio playing in a game that you've ever heard. We come back to the fireplace with another conversation about how BK was really just trying to help everyone, and he's definitely still friends with Mira. He even bought the catapult upgrade in order to help improve the odds of getting people back up above surface, but obviously that didn't really come to fruition. We also meet this absolute, piece of work named Jellybean the chicken freak. Everybody loves birds in this game. I don't know, man. We head on over to Jelly Bean's farm, where we start by capturing a raccoon who was delivering something or picking up this chicken, maybe. I don't know, it's not super clear, but we haven't seen that raccoon down in the hole, so I guess he died. We switch back over to BK, who is receiving a text from Mira asking why we delivered a donut to Coco. Of course, we say Coco asked for one, but Mira isn't super thrilled with that answer, and she asks us to buy the catapult upgrade to start sending people back. I guess she was okay with all of the people that were taken before that, but this is just one too far, mister. BK flips on over to the whole upgrade screen, where we pick up the catapult upgrade, and we also see that there are some energy drinks for sale, so we go ahead and buy those with our remaining money to earn the achievement Gamer. So from this point forward, we have a new tool in our collection to deal with the puzzles that we come across in the various levels. We can use this catapult to shoot things up in the air, possibly to give things some height that they could use, or pull things down and then shoot them back up. Or we can use it to break a rooster out of his jail cell. So now we can go ahead and launch our newly jailbroken rooster back up to reunite with the chicken that is up above. The chicken and rooster reunite, and then all of a sudden an absolute ton of eggs start getting piped out into the ground below that we can swallow up and grow our hole even larger. What a game, man. We return to the campfire and get introduced to the next character's level who we're going to be tackling. This is Bearclaw the Beekeeper. Honestly, this level could not be in the game. This is kind of the definition of filler. This guy basically gets this line right here and then nothing else. We get to go around launching a frog up into the air to grab things such as beehives and then bees themselves, which will be useful later on in the game, but honestly, it's kind of cool, I guess, but maybe not worth its own whole level. The next level goes out to the Cat Chef. Again, this one is kind of fillery, but at least we get a little bit something more. This one has some cool stuff to it. This level includes a little soup creation minigame where you need to collect water and then fill the water with salt and pepper while avoiding some cockroaches that come out, and then you need to feed that to a bird sous chef to get judged. This one actually has a little bit of sauce to it. Finishing this level up, we also get informed that we have officially reached rank 10 and we have unlocked the quadcopter. Also taking a look through the Trashopedia after completing this level, we find a recipe book with a secret soup recipe that we will almost certainly have to return to for an achievement. I guess BK has 1 day shipping on the quadcopter because he very quickly gets it in the next scene and we see him flying it around showing off to Mira. But unfortunately for BK, now that he swallowed up Coco in order to get this thing, Mira is not super pleased and she decides to smash the quadcopter on the ground. She also commandeers the tablet where BK has been controlling the holes this whole time, and she decides to give him a taste of his own medicine. BK is cowering on top of a car, and Mira seems to have no regard for that as she goes ahead and drops him directly down into the hole. I'm sure he'll be fine. She also goes on to drop her gravity-defying self directly into the hole, as well as we earn the achievement Donut County for destroying the donut shop. So now with everyone's stories out in the open, BK has pretty much been convinced that we're all going to need to work together in order to return back to the surface. Unfortunately though, nobody really has a plan for getting them back to the surface, and it seems like the consensus best idea is to find Pup in the hot air balloon, and then they can use that to lift themselves back up out of the hole. But it also seems like the group consensus that no one knows where Pup is, and there's only one person who has the skills to be able to track him. That would be another character that was referenced previous in the story kind of vaguely, named Possum, who lives in an abandoned house. So time to deliver one more donut. This is another pretty standard level at this point. We move around collecting everything before eventually dropping the entire house down below, and now we have Possum in our trap. Possum doesn't seem super concerned about the fact that they were just dropped down below the surface of the earth, and they are super willing to help everybody that's here. Possum can figure out where Pup is if they can grab onto the Raccoon Police Chief's radio scanner in order to track Pup. So I guess we're going for that now. So we go ahead and spawn a hole over at the Raccoon Lagoon Flume ride in order to launch some water up and start a water ride. This is actually a pretty cool level. I like this one a lot. This level eventually leads to us launching a Ferris wheel out of control to destroy the Raccoon Lagoon as we earn the achievement The Flume is Doomed. Honestly, I haven't been feeling the game that much up to this point, but maybe this area has turned it around for me. Now, we just went and destroyed an entire amusement park for, really no reason, I guess. There's probably backup radios somewhere, but luckily for us, the unconscious police chief has just landed right next to us, and we can go ahead and grab his radio. Sorry, bud. Possum uses the police scanner to inform us that a hot air balloon is causing a traffic jam over on the highway. I don't know why we needed Possum specifically to use this police scanner. It seems like it would probably be relatively easy, but at least we know now. We spawn a hole on the highway as we move around slowly collecting things around this little mouse in a car. Oh man, look at the Stuart Little vibes. I love this little guy also. We continue bobbing and weaving our way down the highway until we finally find Pup, and the way that we're going to go about getting the hot air balloon down into the hole below is by launching raccoons up and slowly dragging him down. We successfully get Pup down into the hole below, but then we proceed to capture all of the cars that were stuck in traffic and drop them down below as well. We have completely lost the plot here. Why are we doing this? We have definitely crushed the hot air balloon and also brought way more people down than necessary. Okay, just kidding, I guess. Pup safely floats down below. I don't know why he would continue floating, but also, where did all those cars go? We're definitely not sending those people back, so I guess they're just trapped down here forever. I don't know, dude, whatever. We've managed to land the hot air balloon where everybody is, and now it's time for BK, Mira, and Possum to go ahead and take that hot air balloon back up to the surface in order to go challenge the King of Raccoons, the Trash King, in order to try to reverse everything that's been done here. Our heroes rise up into a very hole-filled world that appears to be a raccoon version of Los Angeles. Apparently this is like the raccoon dimension where all the raccoons live and hang out, and I guess it exists through the holes with the regular world, as regular as this world could be. In a very Grand Theft Auto 5-esque move, the Trash King lives up in the observatory next to the Hollywood or raccoon sign, I suppose, and so that's where we're going to need to have our final showdown with the Trash King. We close in on the Trash King's base, and BK decides to try to just text him, and maybe talking will get the job done. He shoots some texts off asking to return things back to how they were, but the Trash King leaves him on red, so obviously this plan won't be working. And it's really a good thing that we brought Possum with us, because he just so happens to have a hacking device on him that we can go ahead and plug into the mainframe that will allow us to launch a hole into the base. Yep, that all tracks. We use our catapult upgrade to launch the USB stick up into the security camera outside, which allows us to earn the achievement Hacker for hacking into the mainframe. Now we can go ahead and spawn a hole inside of Trash King's base, and we can move it around and start collecting things once again. This level is not without its charms. I mean, in what other game could you go around and pick up a sleeping raccoon before dragging it over to a nearby shelf, launching him up, hitting his head, and then grabbing the key card to proceed? We use that red key card in order to access Lab 1 Biology, where the Trash King is giving a tour to a bunch of raccoons who are watching his top trash scientists get to work. In the biology lab, we manage to grab a snake who looks just like the one that we captured previously, and we can use his tail to smack some buttons to complete a puzzle. I do really like how they bring back so many mechanics from the prior levels in order to solve the final puzzles in the Trash King's lair. Eventually we manage to free a bunch of animals, but most importantly is a frog that we can go ahead and launch up to collect a bunch of flies and eventually release some rabbits above. This is the biology lab, so I guess it makes sense that there would be so many animals around here, but again, we're kind of in a goofy Pluto because the raccoons are animals. I guess not in this world, and the people that are animals aren't animals, but By capturing all of those bunnies, they breed and scatter a bunch of other bunnies out around the base, and for some reason they have taken control of the blue keycard, so we'll take that now. The blue keycard allows us to access Lab 2 Anthropology, where the Trash King is giving a speech about the raccoon scientists here working on a way to create their own trash. Presumably this is why they have been stealing the humans this whole time. Or not humans, I don't know, I've lost the plot. Inside the lab, we find a trash can that is on fire, and that of course lights the hole on fire. I wasn't quite sure what to do here, so I just, naturally accidentally lit a firework off on the Trash King's monitor. This earns us the achievement Disrespecter. What we actually need to do is launch a firework up at the smoke alarm, which will then open up the wall to this weird little circular thing that contains a firework dispenser, a furnace, a bucket of water, and a bird. No, this is not the setup for a joke. So nothing too crazy here, we just need to grab a firework, get it lit on fire by the furnace while avoiding the bucket of water and the bird, and then we can launch it into the ceiling, which will cause the Trash King to demand the hole driver to meet him in his office. So we go ahead and expertly pilot our hole into the Trash King's lair, but suddenly a wall springs up around us and we are trapped for some reason. I guess we can't just spawn another hole right now, but whatever, it is what it is. We come face to face, or face to hole, with the Trash King, who tells us that it's time for BK to come face him one-on-one. So now it's time for BK to leave the group and face down the Trash King all on his own. But naturally, when BK arrives in the Trash King's office, the Trash King isn't looking to negotiate on how to best to return people to the surface. Instead, he is trying to buy BK back into the Trash King company, and he even offers him a ride on the King quadcopter, something that will surely sway BK. Have it your way. Trash King is honestly offering a pretty good deal. Branch manager of something, health insurance, and a King quadcopter. So of course BK is gonna sign on over. Just as BK is doing that, the King quadcopter pulls on over to face down Mira and Possum, and things are not looking good. Luckily for us though, BK left the whole piloting machine in the hot air balloon, so now it's time for Mira to take on the Trash King in a boss fight. The boss fight in this game honestly isn't that bad. The first step is to avoid the laser being shot out of the quadcopter that will cement over your hole, and the next step is to move around and capture the mines that you can shoot up into the quadcopter to deal damage to it. It is a little bit finicky. If you miss out on hitting the one shot you have with the mines, then the quadcopter will shoot back at the hot air balloon and deal some damage to you. Fortunately, it is quite difficult to actually lose this boss fight though. Once we manage to hit the King quadcopter with a couple of mines, we bring it down, and Mira and Possum have saved the day, even without BK's help. That is until the Trash King returns with another King quadcopter, this time equipped with a bazooka, and they are ready to blast us out of the sky. But who's that running down the ramp? It's BK! He actually didn't side with the Trash King. He has been going through the base, he's found the hacking equipment in order to disable the King quadcopter with bazooka upgrade. Oh my gosh, he's here to save us. We grab BK with the hole and use the catapult upgrade to launch him with the hacking software up into the King quadcopter, and we hack into it, which causes it to drop mines all over the place. We shoot the mines up into the King quadcopter once and for all, blowing it up into a million pieces. Now we can pilot our hole around and grab these still spinning propellers in order to form a giant tornado. We make the tornado become bigger and bigger and bigger, and we use it to completely destroy the Trash King's observatory base to earn the achievement boss fight for finishing the boss fight. The Trash King tries to plea with us that he was only looking out for all of the poor raccoons who couldn't help themselves, but Mira and BK have heard enough. They just want him to go ahead and build a system that we can use to launch all of the people that have been knocked down into the holes back up to the surface. Now, maybe we shouldn't have destroyed like all of the Trash King's resources before we got this done, but you know, he'll figure it out, I guess. And you know what? The Trash King actually did what he said he was gonna do. He built a big catapult that we can use to move people slowly back up to the surface. Again, we only really launched the people that were in the campfire and none of those other people that we trapped down here, but don't think too much about it. Honestly, this is a pretty good way to end this game. We get a final little conversation with all of the people that we went into levels with throughout this game, so that is definitely nice. And then finally, Mira and BK are the final people to go up, going ahead and putting themselves on the platform and hitting the button to launch them back up to the surface. And here we earn the achievement Redeemed for finishing the game. After that, we spawn into one final area where we are controlling the quadcopter, which we fly through the Donut County hole to earn the achievement Pilot. This is another super cool area. We get a little slice of all of the levels that we played through, and we get to fly around and visit with all of the characters that we met. This serves as kind of a final send-off to all the characters, as well as a little bit of a credit sequence. It's really nice, honestly. So now with the main game over with, it's time for us to go ahead and go around and clean up all of the achievements that we missed the first time around. Our first achievement is a pretty easy one. We return to the main menu and we open up the Trashopedia one final time, going through everything, and we earn the achievement Nerd for fully finishing it. You pretty much have to do this to finish the game. We return to the Joshua Tree National Park level. We completely missed out on the opportunity of setting Pepper's trailer on fire to earn the achievement Pyro. Then we return to the level that had that super loud radio playing in it. It turns out that you can actually finish this level without collecting the radio, which allows us to earn the achievement Music Lover. Never would have thought of this one. Next up, we return to the chef level where we constructed that soup, but this time we return with the super secret recipe that we learned from the Trashopedia, and once we manage to avoid the bugs and concoct that, we can feed it to the bird to earn the achievement Secret Soup. Another super easy achievement sees us returning to the farm level, but this time we actually don't catch all of the eggs that are pouring out. We break 3 dozen of them to earn the achievement Egg Breaker. After that, we return to the Snake Tail section of the Trash King's lair and enter in a super specific pattern on the little grid area in order to open up the secret vault in the Trash King's lair. Once we finish up with the biology lab, we can go ahead and enter the vault to earn the achievement Bandit, and inside we see that there is an absolute ton of gold and cash hidden around, as well as a golden quadcopter. We then return to the King Quadcopter boss fight, and we actually lose it this time, though that is on purpose. And like I mentioned, they really make you work to earn the achievement Game Over for losing the boss fight. This zooms out to a screen where we see that BK and Mira were actually playing a video game together where they were just beaten by that boss. This makes a line of dialogue where they were talking about BK always losing in the boss fights during the actual game make a lot more sense. And honestly, I really like this little hidden Easter egg type thing. They make it very hard to lose, and so most people probably won't see this little cutscene, but it's one of my favorite in the entire game. An achievement that is quite a bit harder though is Flawless for completing the boss fight without taking a single hit of damage. This isn't super difficult, but it's definitely more difficult than just letting yourself get hit over and over again. And in the tornado sequence, I completely missed that the Trash King had a monument outside of the observatory, so we destroy that to earn the achievement Dethroner. I hardly know her. And then finally, in that last little area where we control the quadcopter, we actually missed out on moving up, where we find the Trash King and earn the achievement Escape. Completely missed this, but now I can officially say that I did everything in Donut County. So how did we do? Donut County was a very short game, clocking in at a total of 2.5 hours, and you could definitely do things much quicker if you didn't miss out on so many of the achievements the first time around. Though if you were going in blind like I was, I would say that some of them are pretty hard to unlock the first time around. The soup would just be like pure luck. Overall, I really liked the art design of this game, and I thought that the actual gameplay with moving the hole around was pretty fun, though, it wasn't super challenging. The puzzles were all pretty easy, and you had to collect everything to finish up a level, so there wasn't even any skill in that really. But that being said, that's obviously not what the creators of the game were looking for. They were looking for this game, and I think that it was pretty good, though I just didn't really get into any of the characters or the story at all, really, which, you know, is probably my own fault more than anything. But hey, you just watched the video, so you can feel free to let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and as always, if you have any other comments about anything, or if you want to recommend games for me to play in the future, you can leave those there as well. Thanks so much for watching, and also just a little shout out, I have now been making these I Did Everything videos for over a year now, which is kind of crazy, so thank you so much for the support. After a year, we're sitting at just under 3,000 subscribers, and we've had some videos absolutely go off, which has been awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in and checking us out, and I hope to see you next week as well. See you!